This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Morning, Frank.
Morning. Morning. I noticed my voice has gone slightly... do you ever listen to Poetry Please on the Radio 4?
Oh, not often. Is that Roger McGough?
Yes, I went slightly Roger McGough. And just a little bit too gentle, maybe, for broadcasting, but suggesting that we're gentle people who can talk about gentle things. Yeah. Okay, welcome.
Nice. Poetry Please on Absolute Radio.
Yeah, poetry, comma, please.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah, very important bit of punctuation. What's up?
Well, we're getting a lot of rugby people getting in touch.
Oh, yes. Well, we should say, yes, that England are playing in the rugby today. I don't think any of us have any interest in rugby at all, but we like England.
No, because I don't wear chinos.
That's what we like. But we generally we like winning stuff, so we're still...
Oh, yeah, we're
We're still back in them 100. But,
really nationalistic and competitive, aren't we?
I know, but can they stop wearing those sunglasses, the rugby fans, that they wear on the ski holidays?
Oh, what do they wear?
They sound quite practical, though.
Yes, this is what worries me about them.
They are in Japan as well.
They're the sort of glasses that Princess Anne wears. Does that give you an idea?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
What cool. They sound cool.
Frank, we've had Alan Turley has been in touch, not cheering. He says, good morning, Frank, Alan, Emily. Long-time reader, first-time contributor. This is to do with Frank's tour. He's getting in touch. Frank is on tour at the moment. I highly recommend
currently
it.
on tour.
Currently on tour.
He's been everywhere.
A special run.
Appreciating it.
A special run of London dates coming to the Garrick in January.
Yes.
Yes.
Nevertheless.
I had the opportunity of seeing Frank at Wolverhampton on Tuesday and will retain praise as per the norm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hang on. You can praise us.
No.
But we won't read it out.
Oh, I see, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to pick up on something Frank said the other week with regards to his start time. My wife Emma and I waited with keen anticipation after the warm-up act Pierre, who was excellent, by the way.
Okay, I'll pass that on.
He doesn't get to fall under the praise rule.
No, he's
Lucky
South
for
African as
Salmo.
well, so if
What's
South Africa
happening?
win today, he'll be very boastful.
Oh, will
I
he?
suspect, yeah.
And I confidently informed her you would be on stage at exactly 8:47 p.m, as I heard you mention this.
Okay.
Imagine my surprise when at 8:33...
Hold on. Just give me a moment to imagine his surprise.
Okay.
I think I've got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Frank wandered on. I don't like wandered on, like you were confused.
No, I think I
do.
stride on like a colossus.
Well, quite. And provided an hour and a half. Best regards, Alan Turley.
Ooh.
Over to you, FS.
Well,
Am I allowed to hazard a guess?
go on.
I think the 8:47 start time that you said that you go on may have been a guesstimate from a different start time venue.
You are correct.
Is that what we've got here?
Do you know, I love it when the comics understand each other.
Yeah.
I've never worked this out, but some venues very, very keen to start the show. I mean, with a support act, start at 7:30 and some at 8, and they base it on their local clientele and all sorts of theories about people getting home from work and whether they go straight from work or whether they go home for a bit of dinner.
Right. Yeah.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah. But that one, I believe, was a 7:45 start, which is eccentric.
Unusual.
But it was at a sports centre.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It was at a big sports centre, which I'd never been to before.
How was
but
it?
got like a big. The dressing room was a boardroom, so we just sat at this enormous table.
Is it true you did the show in like a ankle-length Arsene Wenger padded jacket type thing?
I did. It was cold. God, it was cold in there. Well, I might need that in Wolverhampton because obviously I'm seen as something as an intruder because of being a West Brom fan.
Can I say, I love
friendly.
the idea of the Arsene Wenger black tie ball gown. I think I might go for that.
With black tie ball gown?
Yeah, to go for a black tie event.
Oh,
to
yeah.
go for that as a ball gown now. Maybe off the shoulder.
Yeah, you
with
need,
just two padded areas off the shoulder.
You need a plastic bottle of water as well. I think famously...
And a zip issue.
I think Alex Ferguson, they have a drink after the game often, managers, a sort of a no hard feelings drink after the game.
Yes.
And... Arsene Wenger never had a drink with managers after the game, apparently. When they asked him why, he said, well, I drink during the game, so I'm not really thirsty.
Oh, he didn't understand.
Well, he says he didn't. Sacre bleu.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I have a question, Frank. How important is the start time to your show? Like, do you think it could be disregarded somewhat and you still get away with it? I'll tell you what, I'm leading the witness a little bit.
Okay.
I've got an anecdote.
Hold on.
No, it's not an anecdote.
I'm just going to make myself comfortable in my
It's
chair.
not an anecdote, really.
Put the fire on, Frank.
I'm wondering if I am a diva and I'm somewhat overreacting to something. Last week I did a gig, Sunday night, in Zurich, of all places.
Lovely.
Anyway,
lovely place.
I'd done the same show the night before, but in Basel, different place, and then the following night's in Zurich, and it started at 7 Zurich time, and I was on last, and so I thought at the start of the interval, okay, I'm on next, so I begin my pacing around like I'm going to do a gig, and then somebody came upstairs and said, Shane, the promoter, who's a nice bloke, shout out to Shane, they said, Shane says you'll be on at 9:15. So I looked at my watch and it's 8:30, and I said, oh, okay, is there somebody else on now? Thinking it's a different lineup from the night before. And he said, I don't know, he said 9:15. I said, are you sure you don't mean 9:45, like in 15 minutes after this interval? And he goes, I'll go and check. So he goes downstairs and he says to Shane, and then he comes back up and he said, and he was a Swiss bloke, so I feel a bit like I'm punishing somebody for not speaking English perhaps as well as they might. So I felt like I was being a bit of a diva, even asking this. And he said, definitely 9:15.
Oh.
So Shane goes on, and I kind of go back down a level in getting ready for my gig.
You were on your trajectory?
Yeah. So I changed my trajectory.
You were on your ramp.
I cool my jets, my comedy jets.
Oh, wow. What a moment.
And and then I watched Shane, and he goes on and he does his 10 minutes, and then he said, all right then, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your headline act. Please welcome Alan Cochrane. I sprint down the stairs.
Oh, man.
So you had
I have to sort of barrel my way through, and it turns out he meant 2:45. And it was lost in translation on the stairs.
Oh,
but I feel like
got the crowd.
I feel like a diva for thinking, oh, that didn't help. Like when I look back on it,
oh man, I would have been an absolute nightmare. My first 10 minutes would have been slagging off the Swiss bloke.
I'm just imagining what you would have said to this. I know what you would have said.
I just didn't mention it.
I'll tell you exactly what Frank would have said. He would have made a reference. How he would have arrived at it. He would have been funny, but there would have been a reference to clocks and Switzerland.
I would have started off with the whole thing of that they met precision timepieces. I'd have given a little history of that as if I was praising them. I'd say, nevertheless,
never even thought
nevertheless,
to mention that obsession with clocks.
Hans came and didn't know the difference between 9:45 and 9:15.
Well, worse than that, there's a man came upstairs afterwards and he said, I very much enjoyed your show. You kept us thinking the whole time.
Wow.
And then he went away, but without using the word funny or funniness. No. And I thought...
Did you say, I'm not Descartes, mate?
No, because I think I am.
Don't text in and say it's Descartes, because the reason Emily said that is because once
she's cruel.
Alan said Descartes, and we pull him up on it now and again.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes. So I'm just saving you your 50 pences because I know these are hard times, austerity.
Yes.
etc., etc. Phew. Guess what I've been up to this week?
Touring.
Oh, go on.
I went, yes, but while I'm touring,
Yeah.
I'm constantly topping up my Anglo-Saxon visit
Excellent.
list.
This is becoming a weekly habit.
I know,
This-
it's great. I love it.
This is, you know what I love? It's your Angry Birds, isn't it?
What does
Or
that
your
mean?
Candy Crush. You know the
Oh,
games
yeah.
they play on the phone?
Yes.
Anglo-Saxon Visits is your Candy Crush.
It is, yeah. It's if only I could do it as often as people do Candy Crush. But as I think I may have explained before, the Pierre, my support act, has a degree in Anglo-Saxon history, coincidentally. So he's quite handy as a reference.
Yeah.
Pierrecopedia.
Where did you go this week then? For
This week.
on Anglo-Saxon matters.
This week on Anglo-Saxon visits. Well, we'll be letting you know where we went after this.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had a missive by
yeah.
the medium of Twitter
Ah, yes.
from Nick Gray.
Okay.
He says the following. I'm reading Frank's book, albeit a second-hand copy,
Wow.
#austerity.
Yeah.
Imagine my surprise at turning the page to find this. Shall I explain what this is?
Yes. You might have to.
It's a passage which begins thus. The funniest bit in the God delusion is when Dorco says that on 2 different occasions he sat and listened whilst his wife read the whole book aloud to him.
Yes.
In Nick Gray's copy of the book, second-hand copy of the book, someone has crossed out Dorco and written in biro Richard Dawkins.
Wow.
Nick Gray says, I like to think this was at Richard Dawkins himself taking exception to the over-familiarity #Dorco.
Wow. Or maybe it was someone who was reading out that passage as part of a...
yeah.
Maybe they were auditioning for RADA.
I'm reading your book. It's a strange audition.
You know, an extract
Who was
from
auditioning? Adrian Child?
my original book, the autobiography, which I think that's from the second
Yes,
book.
this is from book 2.
I was used in a O-level GCSE mock exam comprehension
Ah.
test. So they used the passage from me. And then it had questions like, how does Frank Skinner create a sense of excitement in the... You know, all those questions you used to
Yeah.
get at school. Marvellous.
Oh, I love that. How does Frank Skinner create tension? Kath puts her hand up.
Yeah, exactly. People are queuing up to answer that one now. Anyway, so where did I go? I'm going to tell you the former name of this place to really give it its full. It's called Bede's World. And the Venerable Bede, you know. It's
Sorry,
a,
what, you're obsessed by the Venerable Bede. This is like
I
your
know.
Justin Bieber.
but it's a theme park based on the Venerable Bede.
What is it, Al the Bede? I don't really quite... Al?
We've talked about it before,
I know,
but
but
I
we've
can't
talked
remember.
about it 8 times and I don't understand it.
Well, Bede was a monk,
You're going to say the same thing.
yeah, who lived in Jarrow and
Oh.
wrote books. Basically, that's a fair summary of it.
Okay.
Obs.
What's the secret of Bede's appeal for you?
Well, he wrote a book, an ecclesiastical history of England, without which we'd know almost nothing about Anglo-Saxon history.
Ecclesiastical.
That's a bit hard on the
Worry
archaeologists.
about
but
the
bear with me.
ecclesiastical Al. #Dorco.
Yeah, exactly. But this is a theme park based on Bede, the Venerable Bede. Come on. That is something, isn't it?
So, what are the...
They've changed it to Jarrow Hall now, but it was originally known as Bede's World. I think they thought it was a bit
Can
populist.
I say, the
Right.
Venerable Bede? I'll be the judge of that.
Well, that's how he's always known. In fact, there was a bit, because they've got rare breed animals claiming that they were animals that were around
Rare
in
breed
Anglo-Saxon. Yeah.
Very good.
They got those, and they got buildings, and they got bead. And I said you could play animal venerable mineral here. It's a joke that you can't use every day of the week, I must say. But they have got a cast of... actually, they got Bede's skull. They got
Oh, have they?
and someone did a cast of it, and it says Bede's Venerable Bede's Skullcast, which sounds like a fabulous gothic podcast you could listen to.
That should be the name of a podcast.
I'm going to do a podcast called the Venerable Bede's Skullcast. Are there any Skullcasts? I mean, do they exist?
Bound to
Just
be.
a quick question. How busy was it at Bede World?
Well, we got there quite late. We only got the last hour.
Right.
But a school party was arriving just as we left, and it was a Sunday, so why it was a school party, I don't know. I still liked it, you know.
And what did Pierre make of it?
He
He has to like it, doesn't he?
No, he does.
When Bad Puss goes to bed, all his friends go to bed.
Yeah. I can't comment on that. But he said he liked it.
Okay.
And I said, okay, you can do the rest of the tour.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Remember our texting this morning? What was the picture on the last jigsaw you completed? 8, 12, 15.
Good question, Al.
Well, I can't remember, but it would be aimed at infants, so really easy. It's probably like a 12-piecer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Still satisfying, then?
Yeah.
Still satisfying.
Oh, yeah, I've done a
It's
few
an easy win.
I've done a
Sets me up for
few
the day.
Elsas and Olafs.
Oh, yes.
in my time.
Definitely.
The Lego completion is the one I love. Do one every year.
Oh, yeah.
big Lego.
I spend Christmas with the Rosses, who are friends of mine, and we have a tradition of the Lego assembly.
Nice.
It's quite calming. I think it's what they do in...
The Rosses, you may remember, are the family who, I think, stitched the original American flag. She's very friendly with them. They're getting on now, I think, but very independent, obviously. I was at the Theatre Royal Newcastle this week.
How was it?
Don't you? You've been getting about.
Yeah, and
Everywhere.
backstage in the green room, there was an enormous pile of jigsaws, which says a lot about theatrical life,
That's
doesn't
nice.
it?
Yeah.
But I always think if you enter into any jigsaw where the box has already been opened, the cellophane is no longer on, it's a tremendous leap of faith,
Yes.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I think because just the idea of putting in all that effort and then all the pieces aren't there.
Yeah.
I find it's the same with new relationships.
It's a huge leap of faith. Frank.
Yeah, other people have put the picture together and bits have gone missing over the years, and then you have to work around that. So what's your method? Do you do all the straight edge first?
I thought the general wisdom was to start with the corners, wasn't it?
Can I interject at this point? Thanks.
Oh, is that tiling? Hang on, I'm not sure.
Al, I once had a very heated dispute with a friend.
So somebody just got edited.
Yes,
Yeah,
someone-
they did. I felt that was a clunky old Eddie.
Could you hear the Control-Alt-Delete going on in my head?
I kind of wonder who that was. Carry on.
And it's because she's more of a friend of a
No,
friend.
it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I'll tell you in break.
Yeah, of course.
And she was very cross with me.
Oh.
I'd say it was quite a savage disagreement, which is why she got the edit. Because she had a system of putting them into piles according to tone and colour.
Oh.
I don't... Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. I don't favour that approach. I go by shape. She goes by colour. We're all God's children.
Yeah.
She was livid with me. She shouted at me. She said, "What are you doing it that way?"
You see, that's why they're not made to be done by committee, I think, jigsaws. I think you need to just do them on your own. I like to do the complete frame first.
Do you not
Yeah.
sort them in? But she said, "You're not sorting them in piles according to colour." She said, "How your approach to doing this jigsaw is really stressing me out."
No, my first thing, get all the straight edge first.
Yeah, get all the straights in one place.
Yeah, it's, yes. And, it's the sort of flip side of pride. But I think the last one I did was Apollo 11 themed.
Wow.
Oh, lovely.
But it's, I'm glad it hasn't died out.
Have you done a Doctor Who jigsaw?
Oh, God, have I?
Oh.
I've done many a one over the years.
I'll do a jigsaw with you.
Yeah, but would we squabble?
It's a solo effort.
Oh, I really think he's trying to get out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm not saying no. Did I say no?
Okay.
No.
Okay. We're squabbling already.
Pardon?
So, I just said we're squabbling already.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said.
Terrified me.
I misheard you. It's okay.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We've had some missives in from the outside world. 527 has answered your question. Hi Frank, Alan, lovely Emily. Last jigsaw I finished was of the City Ground, Nottingham Forest.
Oh, lovely.
I glued it and framed it and it fell apart just like our season. That's Derek from Rugby.
You see, very popular now are the personalised jigsaws, the bespoke ones.
Yes, it's a
I've
very
had one done of me.
snappy snaps thing, isn't it?
Is that what happens?
Take the glamour out.
You've had one done of you?
I was part of a sort of tableau of a friend's birthday gift with various people in their lives. And I was one of those people. But it's quite nice doing a jigsaw of yourself. Have you ever done one, Frank? There must have been hundreds of you.
I've never done a jigsaw.
You and David with a football.
Somebody sent me a white jigsaw, completely white.
Right.
It's supposed to be like the ultimate test.
Oh.
I didn't bother with it. It seemed ridiculous. Well, there you go. We're all different.
Yeah.
Could do it at Christmas.
Oh,
if it doesn't snow, you'd be having a white Christmas brackets jigsaw, close brackets.
We have another in our series, people you shouldn't talk to. This is number 17.
Oh, yeah.
Men who wear leather cowboy hats.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
I think they mean those ones with the leather stitching.
Yeah.
So I think they mean, obviously.
I've got to be honest, I think men in cowboy boots, I struggle.
But that's a sort of... What's the Hammond guy called from?
Oh, Richard Hammond.
Yeah.
Hamster.
Is he a cowboy boot man?
I think he's very much
right,
a cowboy. I know what you mean. That's a certain type, but I think the leather cowboy hat.
It's just different tribe.
You're actually talking. I mean, physical danger from those men. Whereas, I mean, the men in cowboy boots are just a bit, They might. There's a danger they could turn up. You could say, "Come round to my house." And they'd turn up with an acoustic guitar.
Oh.
These are the guys I'm worried about. But if they turn up in a leather cowboy hat, just don't let them in. I think leather cowboy hats. That's why we have those video doorbell things. That's the specific.
Are they essentially Are they next to the phrase currently helping police with their inquiry?
I think they are. It's like people in multiple badges. You just, I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed out, but just give them a bit of space.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Frank, we've had a lot of people getting in touch this morning about your shows.
Okay.
418, for example. Dearest Frank Cockrell and Divine Miss M. I like that, dearest. It's a bit like we're a sort of Regency family.
I still use dear on emails and stuff. It's something that's faded out a bit. Yeah.
Do you, Cockrell?
Yeah, sometimes. And I've noticed that I begin it with dear, but then by the end of the email I become quite modern and I just don't even put Alan at the end sometimes.
Do you ever
send it?
Do you ever do a hey? Do you ever do
No. I'm not a member of the cast of Glee. No, I don't do that.
I'm okay with yo as well. I sometimes put yo in an email.
You do?
Yeah.
Do you sign off with a best or an all best? Or a George best?
I often just put something like soon.
Yes,
and then
you do.
Put F. And then I like to put F, just an F.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst thing when you send it and you realise you put a C instead of a kiss.
Okay, I'm glad you've raised this.
Okay.
I've got something to tell you as a friend who loves you very dearly.
Oh, God, I feel tense.
Oh, God.
I'm getting a lot of C's from you.
Are you?
I would say every other text is a C.
Really?
And I'm really glad it's come up.
No, I'm sorry
for a
about
phone
that.
with
I
big
don't know what it
buttons.
is. I mean, let's just check me QWERTY. Yeah, they are.
What trousers.
What was that, sorry?
Oh, he slipped through a bit of shade, Frank.
Oh, yeah, what was
You
it?
care to repeat it in front of the whole class, Alan?
Not really.
Okay.
I said maybe it's time for a phone with big buttons.
Yeah.
You were suggesting you needed what I call the Roger Moore phone.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're right. I see they are bedfellows, X and C, when I consult my QWERTY.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Yeah,
Yes.
Anyway, I do apologise. I was right mid message from 418, wasn't I?
Ah, yes.
I had the absolute pleasure of seeing Mr. Frank, using your
Basil brush.
yes, in Newcastle, and I wondered if Big Daddy was responsible for the interval and pre-show music, a sort of big band jazz 60s cops show feel.
Yes, I was.
I ask because the James Bond theme played no less than 4 times.
Did it really?
Is Frank plotting revenge on that cleaner thief, Daniel Craig, with a plan to play Jimmy Bond himself? Perkins to Bond could happen. That's from Claire. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Claire. Yes, I do. It's from an album called, I think, Crime Jazz, which is it's got stuff like the Untouchables theme and stuff like that on it. But I didn't. I didn't know. That's
Crime jazz. 2 words a lot of people dislike.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm against both.
Some people prefer crime, generally speaking, but crime jazz as a combo gives you things like the sort of Ironside theme, you know.
Right.
Da-da-da-da-da. It's the only way I can take my jazz through a filter of crime.
I'll join you on. It's not Perry's something. Who's that?
Perry Mason.
Oh, that's the theme. When I was younger, I just thought this is the most sexy grown-up music I've ever heard. Are you familiar with the theme?
Yeah, how does it go?
There's a big sort of sax or trumpet. I'm too ashamed to sing it.
Oh, go on.
Du-du-du-du. It's something like that. Do you not know it? It's quite dramatic, swoopy.
What is it, Indian? No, we were talking about when someone does a foreign accent and everyone says, "Oh, what is he Welsh?" Or something. If you
It's
do.
our work. Why do we hate it again? We just think it's a bit. It's a bit
Rubbish.
first thought.
I don't know why I don't
Okay.
think we have to give reasons for everything we hate.
We don't actually.
No,
Right.
sometimes I think you can just hate stuff.
Show would run
Like
too
crime,
long.
like crime and jazz, Al.
Danger, danger. Leather cowboy hat.
Who has worn a leather cowboy hat in your life? Someone recently.
A few dangerous people. But
Do they
I'm sure.
wear it?
Can I say there are exceptions to every rule? I'm sure if you're listening and you're actually in a leather cowboy hat, come away from that person's window and go home. That's my argument. But no, I'm sure there are nice people that wear them as well. 4. I think there's 4 in Britain, I think I read.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. I don't know if you've noticed
It's
that.
beginning to feel a lot like Christmas.
Am I wrong there? It feels like this week. I don't like to boast that I've got my finger on the pulse, that I'm all zeitgeisty, but
Yeah.
it feels like this week people have started to discuss their Christmas plans and who's going where and
I
what's
suppose
happening.
there is a bit of that. I mean, I find I'm in that sort of decompression chamber between Halloween and
of course.
Let's Burn a Catholic night.
It's a difficult time of
Your
year.
least
Yeah.
favourite night of
Well, do you know,
the social calendar.
It's mine too now.
Is it? Since Frank explained the underlying
No,
anti-Catholic
can you
tones
guess
to it.
why I don't like November the 5th now?
Because you've got a dog.
Dog owners and Catholics come together for the night.
Yeah,
Yes.
In our joint hatred. I might go over to Frank's for the night. Okay?
Well, I don't feel like we've quite hit the peak silliness where we get the articles about the attack upon Christmas, Winter Festival, all that stuff. That'll be coming in a few weeks.
That'll be coming, yeah.
But we are starting to get articles about Christmas dinners, which I love this sort of stuff.
But that's fair enough, I think, because I like to have my first Christmas dinner still in November.
Oh, you
Because If I go to any place now and they've got Christmas dinner available, I go in immediately.
I remember
Do you?
about this time last year getting very jealous of how many Christmas dinners you managed to chalk up.
Yeah, and I'm doing, I'm travelling around now, so I've got a chance to, to sort them out.
Will you have
Whereas
your... Sorry, Al.
The more common man, Alan Cochrane, I'll just be settling for the Greg's Christmas pasty or something like that while Frank's eating the full works.
Oh, do you?
I'll tell you something I love about the whole
pie.
Christmas dinner as well. Is when I moved from the West Midlands to London, I had a lot of confusion and some criticism that I called that meal that you have about 1 o'clock in the afternoon dinner.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have a concept of lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I always called that dinner, and then the evening meal would be about 5 o'clock would be tea, and then there'd be another meal called supper later on. But dinner, I still find myself saying dinner for what most people down here call lunch.
Yeah.
But with Christmas dinner, people seem to have come over to my way of thinking. And people say Christmas dinner even though it's at...
Well, it is Christmas Day. It's a one-day armistice.
That's
we
lovely.
come to your side.
Frank's an influencer.
How long before people will be saying in London will be saying your Coronel taxi time?
Not long.
Oh, I look forward to that special.
What we do now, also I do, as an added, just to throw in a little bonus, Boxing Day, I say Albinyar.
To
someone.
Can I say
Albinyar, sorry.
when you say an armistice, I think
Yes.
let's just rewind. I woke up the other morning.
Yes.
And I woke up and I have this thing that if I have to think of something, I won't Google it. I woke up thinking, what is that thing that they have at libraries when you're allowed to take your books back and you don't?
Amnesty.
Yes.
Oh.
It took me 20 minutes to think of it.
Yes.
Well done.
And
we've
all
had days like that.
I could think of was that what is this thing that joins together weapons and library books?
Yes.
Because they have an amnesty for like knives and guns and library books. Those seem to be the things, which is very weird.
Yeah.
But when I got that, it was... It was a joyous moment when I got amnesty.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And the fact that the rest of Southern England comes over to say dinner on Christmas, is that armistice?
I would say armistice because I would say it's like the Christmas Day armistice.
It's like when they played football.
That's what I was referring to. Do you see?
Lovely. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
But it just reminded me
it's a
about...
bit late history for Frank's palate, but he'll still...
It is a bit late, but it's football, so I've gone with it.
On The Apprentice this week, they didn't know when the Second World War... To put the Second World War on, but they didn't know when the Second World War was, which I was a bit shocked. They said, how long was it? Was it 4 or 5 years?
And
I
did
don't
they
know.
say something like, I'm only 32?
Something along that. No, what they said was, well, I don't know, think of when your parents were young. Maybe, their parents would be, what, in their 50s?
Yeah.
For goodness sake.
No,
It's weird that Lord, what's his name, Lord Sugar said you can't Google it. I've been listening to Frank Skinner. You just got to remember it.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Lord Kitchener for a minute. Wouldn't that be a good name for a TV chef?
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
So,
Over to you, Al.
We were discussing Christmas dinner, and
oh, the weather outside is... I'm just setting the tone.
there's been an article saying that there's a Christmas dinner guide has sparked fury online.
Fury?
I didn't know there was any fury online. That's a constant surprise to me when these stories come up.
There's a bit of Billy brewing.
Apparently,
Not Fury, the rip-off series of Champion the Wonder Horse about
I
a
don't know.
horse called Fury.
You see,
Oh, is that right?
I went Billy.
Yeah, you know when they go a bit... when there's a show is a big hit and someone else thinks, we'll just make the same show, it'll be fine.
we did a discussion on this a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of really good programmes started as spin-offs, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Frasier, Mork and Mindy.
A spin-off is all
To
right,
name but
but
two.
a rip-off and a spin-off are different things. Yeah. I liked Fury, don't get me wrong, if he's listening.
Doubt it.
Nay.
Yay.
I was interested in this article because they're saying that people are very upset because there was only one large or two small roast potatoes put on the
one roast
plate.
potato each.
This is supposed to be
each. I mean, who do they think they're kidding?
This is the perfect formula, isn't it? Is the idea? It's in the BBC's Good Food magazine. Yeah. Imagine that exists. Unbelievable. And this is how to do the perfect Christmas dinner.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's one roast. If they're tiny, you can have two, but
4 to 6 sprouts per person. If they're sprout lovers! ! Well, presumably, if they really like them, because you don't give 6 sprouts to somebody that hates sprouts.
Interesting that they've avoided the odd numbers with sprouts. I wonder if that's some old piece of folklore.
Right, if you have
odd number of sprouts. You'll have your doubts, I think is the saying.
They have a little cross in the sprouts traditionally.
I do that.
My mother used to do that. What's that about? What's all that about?
I think it's the same. For me, it was the same thing as the donkey's back.
Oh, yes.
I think it's some the donkey's back. A donkey's back's got a cross on it, theoretically, because Jesus rode a donkey into Jerusalem.
Oh, right.
I don't.
Not that it's a cruciferous vegetable. It's not that.
No, this is what a donkey.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they're definitely not. But I don't know why you cut a. I do it with chestnuts as well.
Do you?
If I put chestnuts in the oven, I cut a cross on the top so they don't explode. Little tip there.
I love
Life
the
hacks
chestnut.
on Absolute Radio, ladies and gentlemen.
You always... Sorry, Al.
You often cooking chestnuts at home. I didn't know you cooked very often.
I don't cook.
Chestnut tip,
but
chaps.
I love a chestnut.
Well, nice tip for you. Frank, you've previously suggested the walnut as an ideal Christmas dinner for the doll's house.
Oh, yeah.
I believe on this show.
Lovely chicken.
Can I add to this for the dolls, if you're playing doctors with the dolls, a doll's brain, the chestnut interior?
Yes, good call.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It comes up less, I think. In the doll plane, the exposed brain. But I'm not saying it doesn't come up at all.
Speak for your own family.
Yeah, I think in the Barbie lobotomy set, I think there's one. But that was Klaus Barbie. It was a whole different range of toys.
Oh, no.
But
also, one parsnip each.
Yes.
Not bothered. Load them. Load of
Like
parsnips.
You know, my dad...
I'll have more than one.
Every time parsnips either appeared in person or referred to, my dad... Or, you know how dads always say a certain thing when something comes up? He always said, very good for your water. I have no idea to this day. What does it mean?
I think he might have meant they were a diuretic of some sort.
Very good for your water. Parsnips.
I think that's what he means.
What worries me is I think I might have said it to people.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I know it's almost certainly erroneous, I've just gone into, apparently very good for your water and just leave it like that, because I like to be a bit enigmatic.
Also, sorry, Frank, I'd like to know, I'd be interested to know what our readers think, because I think they said 100 millilitres of gravy. What is it, cough mixture?
I don't know what that means.
Be a bit generous.
What does it mean?
It's nout.
Not much.
They also went for the one Yorkshire pudding. Now, some suggest there is a huge controversy over this, because some say the Yorkshire pudding is a beef-based accompaniment, and this is incorrect. You should not have it with Christmas dinner.
Yeah. Well, this is... Let me come, because today's producer, Faye, is looking at me anxiously. But I'd like to discuss all of these, because I think they're important things. I think the Yorkshire pudding turkey thing is a particular... something that we need to sort out, not just for us, but on behalf of the nation.
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Al, we've had some sprout news from Judy in West Norfolk.
Judy, you know I love you.
She says, cutting a cross in the base of sprouts, which Frank and I, for anyone who's just joined us, was saying both our families... Did your mum do that, Frank?
She did.
Yes. Used to be necessary.
She then boiled them for about 2.5 hours, I would say.
Oh, okay. Because sprouts were large and tough, and it was to help them cook evenly. It's no longer necessary because today's sprouts are small and sweet.
I've been wasted. It's one of the few things I contribute to Christmas dinner. Is cutting the squares.
It's unnecessary.
No, you had that row once.
Bad news.
Well, I know I've done that a few times.
Also, I don't like the sprouts to be cooked in that way, like round spheres.
Oh, you like them sliced, do you?
We whiz them and do them in a Jamie Oliver way.
What
really
does that mean?
good.
Like chopped?
You like sort of shredded sprouts, as it were.
Shut up.
Wow.
Do them in the wok with some. I think it's butter.
The what you use, James?
I think it's
Woks
butter,
on Christmas Day, for heaven's sake.
Worcester sauce, and what's the one that grows in the garden?
Kale?
Leeks?
Rosemary. Rosemary.
Sorry, can I
There
just
we
say
go.
the most middle-class thing I've ever said? Kale?
Can I say?
I thought what's the one that grows in the garden was pretty close.
That I think what's one that grows in the garden is the worst clue to naming a vegetable I've ever heard in my life.
Hang on, the wok on Christmas Day is interesting, Frank.
It is. I didn't think anyone had to walk on Christmas Day. Even Bob.
Emergency
I think
services.
even Bob Cratchit gets he gets a day off Christmas Day.
Stop it.
But be sure you're coming earlier on Christmas. I made him Scottish. I've gone for McScrooge the Duck in the Donald Duck cartoon.
You see, so it's sort of, it's sort of like Chinese flavouring.
No,
Okay, calm down, dear. You just use it as a receptacle.
Yeah, it's just a big frying pan, really, isn't it? If you think about it.
Oh, I don't think you can shoot down 2,000 years of Chinese history like that.
And I haven't. I'm pro the wok. I love it.
Just well, you've proved that. Christmas wok. I don't know what to.
Well, what
don't know
about
what
this?
to
Is the
say.
thing that really upset me once when I heard that in Portugal, obviously they have different traditions around the world with food. We should
course
say it's
they do.
only here that we eat the turkey. I know in Germany it's goose, isn't it? I think.
I don't know.
We had to cook goose once because we had a German friend and Rachel and I cried. Anyway,
Oh, I'd say I'd have took that you were making some sort of snidey remark about goose steps. Yeah.
definitely not.
Okay.
It is a German
It's a
tradition.
minefield. You can't
I'm-
say minefield.
No, you can't say mine.
Neither of you can say anything. Leave it to me.
Okay.
In Portugal, this made me so ill when I heard it. I don't know if this is true. Any Portuguese readers, do get in touch. I heard that they celebrate Christmas Eve, I think, quite prominently, like a lot of, I think Germany does as well.
Oh yeah.
But they have a tradition of, I think it's boiled salted cod on Christmas Eve with boiled onions and boiled eggs. That is their Christmas feast. I felt absolutely sick. Imagine what that house smells like Christmas morning. It's disgusting.
Oh,
I'll bring my own packed lunch if any Portuguese friends are inviting me.
Do you like that meal?
That sounds all right to me.
Salted
Same.
boiled cod, boiled onions for
Yeah.
Christmas dinner.
That's it. You can
Still in.
You can steam in a nice facelift pre-Christmas as well. Just off your plate.
Onion facelift.
Yeah. Is there such a thing as an onion facelift? There should be. No, that I wouldn't mind trying that. Shall we have it next week?
Have it next week. Also, coming up in shock news, there's another wok user on Christmas Day.
I tell you that Brexit's coming just in time.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Okay.
I've been vindicated, by the way. 245 has texted Alan. I also shred and wok the sprouts, but I fry them with garlic, bit of red chilli, and finish with almonds. I struggle to say that. Almonds?
Almonds, yeah.
And then he says, crack on, lad. The Jamie Oliver recipe, I think, is called Brussels with hustle or something. Recommended.
Okay.
It's like a civic
Right.
duty doing this show.
It is, anyway, what I was getting at is this thing that people say you can't have Yorkshire pudding with turkey because Yorkshire
Yeah.
pudding lives with beef.
Yes.
And this is to me, a very interesting point, and I'll tell you for why.
Yeah.
I really like mint sauce.
Oh, yeah.
But wow.
So obviously when I have lamb, I have mint sauce. But I'll also put mint sauce on beef, pork, whatever.
I love mint. What is it? It's the
Love the fact
tangy
you don't care
pecan.
about these rules.
No, but I tell you what it is. There's a certain thing in roast dinners, and it's Yorkshire pudding and beef. It's beef and horseradish.
Yes.
It's pork and apples.
Mm-hmm.
There is a monogamy that you don't find in the modern world anywhere else. I mean, there's more loyalty.
Certainly not in relationships.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
a bit more polyamorous about the condiments, aren't you?
That's what I need. A nice bit of beef.
There are married couples that don't have the strict loyalty code that pork and apple sauce, for example, observe. I mean, how did we arrive at that?
That's what you need.
It's a
People
great
say I'm looking
question.
for my lobster. What they need to say, or my penguin, they need to say I'm looking
What's
for
that?
my apple sauce.
But
What's
It means the
lobster
other half.
penguin?
Lobsters mate for life, and so do penguins.
Oh, I see. I never
Okay.
knew that.
Thank
yeah,
you.
but who wants to go out with a lobster?
Not a penguin. Lobster. Who would you rather go out with, penguin or lobster?
Oh, penguin
every
anytime.
time.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
freezing. No,
No, but they're you can cuddle one of those.
there's no point cuddling in the cold.
Look, I've been out with both. Take it from me.
Yeah.
Okay, the bread's a
He's
bit
got a
fishy.
history. He's got a history.
Yeah. But can we not loosen up a bit?
Yeah.
Having said that, I had a bit of an experience this week, which I'm
Here we go,
sensing.
Al. Buckle up, everyone.
I'm sensing that I
Good
just
night.
think Al is gonna know about this, but I didn't. I was in the north of England on tour on the road with my merry band of
Thieves.
Omar and Pierre.
Mm-hmm.
And we do sound like the three. It could be the three. What they were called?
Musky
Amigos.
hounds.
Musketeers. Yeah.
Musky hounds. I went.
Yeah. And one of the guys said, "Oh, you know where we are, do you? We're near Tebay Services."
Oh, nice.
And I said, "What's that?" And they said, "Tebay? Come on." And I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. Do you know this, Emily?"
Of course I don't.
So we went to Tebay.
Absolutely nice.
Do you know it, Al?
Really nice. It's where I actually, I've got a slight bit of PTSD about it because it's where my children insisted on having an adult pie when they could have had a child's meal
Oh,
for
was it
£1.
there?
So they
Well, I
cost
think
me an
it's a
extra
place.
£20.
Where is-
It's a place that encourages that kind of decadence, I would say,
It's
because if there was a road to heaven,
Yeah.
the services on it would be Tebay. Let's
Oh,
put it that way.
Is this right? I
They
might
should put that
drive
on
there
their
specially.
posters, really.
Do you know I love a nice? Sometimes I'll drive off just if I know there's one coming up.
They had freshly cut biltong in the delicatessen.
Yeah.
And also there were people at Tebay Services who weren't wearing tracksuits.
Yeah.
What were they
At the
wearing?
services.
It's really different.
Can you imagine? I saw two thin people. I mean, what's going on? What's happened to services? It's incredible. It's got everything. They got like craft items. They had
they haven't.
pencils that said things like "I love books" on them. It's a services.
It's really different.
No, I love big hardcover books about Princess Diana that you can buy.
Or the world of cars.
No, the world of cars. Exactly. It's a lovely place. I would drive to Tebay just to hang out and then drive back again. If it
Well, I'm
wasn't so far
going
away.
to. I might go after the show.
I was absolutely. They had fresh biltong, 3 varieties.
I bet if I asked for
Freshly cut.
Earl Grey, they wouldn't look at me like
no,
I was
they'd have
strange.
Oh God, they'd have all that. So I went in there, had a roast dinner, and it was, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Did I have mint sauce? You bet I did. Yeah. Oh man, that was a special thing.
Mint
But we had a
sauce?
debate at Tebay Services, the three of us, and I'll run that by you after
Okay.
this.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We're talking about Christmas traditions here. There's or Christmas meals specifically.
Can I tell you about the
Dinner?
debate we had?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, in the Tebay.
So
Oh, of course. We're in Tebay location.
Omar sits there at Tebay Services and says to me, if you look how many different foodstuffs are on this plate, it's a roast dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So how many, if I put 2 on my fork, how many combinations do we have if it was 2 different ones? Are you with me? So he would.
Yes.
He's a man who would have meat and then say cabbage on the same fork. Now I don't do that.
Right.
I eat my food. I have a sort of apartheid system.
Yes, you're
Right,
quite
so you go per
puritanical
bite.
with regards
Particularly
to
apt
food.
on this World Cup final day. I don't mix and match on the fork like that. I only take up one food at a time.
And some people do the
Interesting.
human blender thing.
Some
where
people want two. Well, tell you what, they put together some sort of shish kebab.
Yes. I knew a bloke who had a little bit of every single thing on a cooked breakfast per forkful.
I mean, what's going on?
Oh, I'm staying
Yeah.
very quiet here, as you can tell.
Why are you one of those?
No, I don't, of course not. But with a salad, I will make an excepzione because the salad is designed to be blended. It's all God's children in the salad. Do you see? You wouldn't just eat the leaves and then eat the bacon separately.
No. Bacon? No, I don't. See, that to me is not a salad.
No,
item.
I know Frank's
Cobb salad.
again got a very sort of
Those are
puritanical
what I
approach
call,
to
they're what I
salads.
call Mars bar salad.
Turning into your dad.
I take my salad, I roll it into a ball, take it, swallow it in one gulp, and rinse it down with a glass of water
Like
just
a
to get
sort
it
of
out of
a
the way.
golf ball
Frank
size
doesn't see the
tablet.
pleasure. He sees the salad as the sort of pear
medicine.
shirt
medicine.
of the
It is.
food world.
It is absolutely that, yeah.
I know what you mean. Would you not mix on Christmas Day a bit of roast potato with a tiny bit of chicken and some gravy?
No.
I mean, turkey.
The only example I
Yes.
can think of is that sometimes when I'm having fish and chips, I will take a bit of the batter off the fish and wrap it around the chip and eat it like that as a sort of vegetarian pigs in blanket sort of setup. And that's a nice thing.
I'm glad you brought up pigs in blankets. They're another thing that they didn't have that name when I was a child.
They didn't exist.
They
when
were
I
called
was-
sausages wrapped in bacon when I was a kid, which is quite a clumsy title.
You see, that and the Yorkshire pudding, those are the standout acts of the day to me.
You think?
This is why I buy the ticket. The Yorkshire pudding
And the
and the
pigs.
pigs in blanket.
You see-
Everything else, take or leave.
My mum used to make a big, thick Yorkshire pudding, a big spongy, warm of a Yorkshire pudding.
Uh-huh.
But the ones you get, in restaurants and stuff, they're very airy. They're like, I imagine, when you see people thinking in a comic book, and they're in those, someone has decided that when you think in small puffs of smoke.
Yes.
When you speak with like a pointy tail. But I imagine if you ate one of those thought bubbles, it would taste like a Yorkshire pudding, like you get in a restaurant, that crunchy and then nothing really in the middle of it.
No, I like it, the Yorkshire pudding consistency, I like it like a quilt.
Yeah.
Or like a sort of Shrek's ankle.
Oh, I love
in
the idea.
consistency,
I love-
ideally, Shrek's ankle and no slimmer.
Yeah, I like the idea of sleeping under a Yorkshire pudding. That's probably what they did in the early days before they had electric blankets. The cavemen.
I thought you meant the Yorkshiremen.
Oh, yeah, mate.
Wow, I like that Frank thinks the time preceding when they had electric blankets was cavemen.
I'd like to say he's not the biggest history scholar, but he is quite a big history scholar, so it's a fairly sizable gap in his knowledge.
Yes, Yes, I've mixed up something there. I think
We're going to draw you a timeline.
I take my timeline mainly from the Flintstones.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a few texts on our various food-related discussions.
Oh, yeah.
429 has sent us higher. When we went to Portugal to visit a family member around Christmas time many years ago, we saw a Christmas tree made of fish in a shopping mall. It could have been cod. It was huge and stank, and they've capitalised that bit.
I like...
That's from
Imagine being described that way. You were huge and stank.
It says
What a
Tracy
review.
Norwich. I don't know if that's her surname or if Tracy is in Norwich, but anyway,
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope she's called Tracy Norwich.
me too.
It's quite a good name, but I bet not. Oh, I like the sound of sea. I'd like to see the stinking Christmas tree just once.
Don't take this
And
the
I've
wrong
used
way.
that line before.
Don't take this the wrong way, do. But I can very much imagine you having the stinking Christmas tree just to annoy people, just in a gittish way.
Cod. Yeah, I've gone. Have you gone artificial? Have you gone real? I've gone cod this year. I thought we'd go cod for a change.
Can you imagine?
How
Well,
do you mean cod? No, just cod. Got a cod Christmas tree. Yeah. You know, we're gone for just a cod Christmas tree. Yeah, well, do they still hang stuff on it? I suppose it just sticks.
No.
Give it a couple of days, they can sit globes on the vapour. Lovely, it'd be like a hovering thing. Like the Pink Panther's eyebrows, just
And then
bouncing there in midair.
Frank, if you want an artificial tree, you get the fish finger tree. You
Oh,
see?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, instead.
Like the cod bite. Yeah, you can have cod bites instead of globes.
Oh,
That's
nice.
what you have. You see, fillet or fish for my wife.
Yeah.
Can I tell you about Halloween? I think it's time.
Yeah, we're going from festival to festival here. Lovely. So you went. I was at the Lyceum Theatre Crew in Halloween, but
Oh.
you
I
went
told
to,
everyone you were.
you went
I
to
thought
the
you were
party.
drying out, love.
You went to the party of the year, of course, at Jonathan Ross's Halloween party, which I must say is really an event and a half.
Oh, is it ever? It's great. But I did miss you, Frank, because we have a tradition at around 10:45 p.m. What happens?
We go in the house and make a cup of tea.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah,
Like Grandma and Grandpa Walton.
It's both the least and the most showbiz thing I ever hear about.
But I have to say, Frank did send a rather fabulous ambassador in his place. Buzz arrived. Do you know what he dressed as?
yes, he was Voldemort.
He was. Oh, do you say, is the T silent?
You
no.
just said it.
Oh, yeah, I've said it. I was about to say that.
Oh, you're
one.
not meant to say it.
No,
Is it like
doesn't
Macbeth?
Harry make a
He
big
who
thing
must
about
not
I'm
be
going to
named.
say his
He does
name,
say
and then
it,
at
yeah.
the end of the Philosopher's Stone, which
Yeah.
I know that because I've just read it to my child.
Harry's a big free speech guy. I think that's the
Harry.
message.
Can I
Yeah,
say,
he
I
is,
don't know anything. I don't know much about it
he's
because I've
right.
never read one. But I do. I only know it from Jack Thorne's quotes, which I love. That's my only relation to it. I think it sounds brilliant.
It's all right.
But I don't know Voldemort. But I did
I've
make a point.
corrected a few things in the reading of it.
Okay, I did make. Oh, God. I did. Oh God, I did make a point of saying to Buzz immediately, you know, I know who you are,
Okay, no,
Good.
he'll be
because I
pleased
know
with
how much his dad likes it when you know who he is.
that. Yeah.
So I said, you're Voldemort. Jonathan Ross, it gives me no pleasure to say this, but I'm afraid Jonathan Ross said when he saw him, and he had a grotesque Voldemort mask on.
Oh, yeah.
He said, Buzz, I've never seen you looking more like your dad. And I'm afraid Buzz laughed.
Of course.
Okay.
Excellent.
So you
Fair
were
enough.
there in spirit.
Yes. Well, I missed it. It really is. It's.
I mean,
it's a hell
I
of
was
a
the child
thing.
catcher.
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So Buzz was sort of my prop
That's
all
good.
evening.
Well, except he was Voldemort.
Well, yes, he was like an angry victim.
But you can imagine, can't you, going into a late night drinking club and Voldemort is sitting with the child catcher, just talking about how they hate kids, I suppose.
I described it as the...
And maybe with Mrs. Thingy from Annie.
Yeah. Oh, Mrs.
yeah.
Hannigan.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good one.
Good idea for next year.
Yeah. Well, there's someone appeared as Harry Potter. There was a tense moment between him and Buzz.
I
Oh,
bet.
yeah.
I'm
That
afraid
wouldn't have gone well.
Buzz did wave an implement in his face.
No, I think you've got to do that.
No, he did.
Did the guy, if it was a guy who was Harry Potter,
It was.
Did they have the zigzag scar?
They had a fight.
Oh, okay.
No one got hurt.
No.
It was all absolutely fun. But there were some great costumes. Alan Carr went as the creature from The Shape of Water. I think that was the name of the club.
Why didn't the outfit turn up?
Frank. He looked fabulous. Craig Revel Horwood, I had a real lucky escape because I was going to go. I had some options prior to the child catcher. I like that, though. As a childless woman, I like it. Give them what they want. And I was going to go. I nearly went The Other Mother, which is from a Neil Gaiman book, Coraline.
Oh, yes.
yes.
Oh, the buttons.
And Neil was there, of course. Button eyes. So,
Button eyes.
and then I nearly went as Cruella de Vil. Again, give them what they want. I was
Yeah.
glad I didn't. Talk about being outshone. Craig Revel Horwood turned up, full Cruella de Vil drag makeup,
Oh, excellent.
and 4 boys on men are dressed in Dalmatian onesies on leads.
Goodness
We'll
me.
talk about his
Well, they're
costume in a
definitely
minute.
part of the costume.
Yeah. Exactly. Wow, Craig Revel Horwood.
I know.
I once run a joke by Craig Revel Horwood that someone had said to me that they said they didn't like Craig Revel Horwood because they never liked the orange revels. And he didn't take it at all. He really saw no comedy in it at all. He just gave me that terrible stare when he looks. Oh dear.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I've just been showing you some Halloween pictures. I mean, you could have just looked in the newspapers, but I don't know why I bothered taking the pictures.
Oh, that's right. The Daily Mail quite often cover it, don't they?
They do them all. David Baddiel had a yellow sort of biohazard suit.
That's right.
He was dressed as Walter White from Breaking Bad, I believe.
Never seen that.
Don't think Frank has watched that.
Never seen that, no.
Oh, okay.
No.
David Walliams was Blofeld. He was upset because everyone kept calling him Dr. Evil.
Oh, okay. No, I think they always called him that, didn't they? Rachel Worthington has sent me, I don't know if you remember, I mentioned last week, Fool's Gold, which I was saying was the money. It was like the pink pound. It's what people spend on Kardashian-based items.
Yes.
And someone has actually, Rachel Worthington has sent me some actual fool's gold.
No way.
And you know what? It looks great.
How exciting.
It seems incredible when you consider some of the people who wear a lot of gold, that all gold isn't called fool's gold. But,
interesting.
But it's beautiful fool's gold. I think I like it better than gold.
Do you want to describe what it is, Frank? Because
it's a mineral. So they've sent me a piece of rock, and it's sparkly, golden, all lovely. I feel I'm going to have it under my pillow tonight.
We should perhaps say it's in a little plastic bag. That's
That's
Frank
why
is
he's
crackling.
rattling.
Oh yeah.
It's not
it's in a plastic
Rice
bag.
Krispies, and he's poured liquid onto the fool's gold.
Yeah.
It says.
Or what were those things, Al, that you used to... They were in a packet, and you'd put them down your throat.
Oh.
And...
it's made my mouth
and
water.
so to music.
No, you remember those?
Yeah.
They were in a packet and you put them down your throat. Were they sweets?
That sweet thing that does the crackling in your mouth.
Crackling sweets.
Oh, space dust.
Very
That's
good.
right.
Sorry, I've gone very...
Unfortunately, I
candy.
think there was a Class A drug that had the same name. Don't get mixed up. Anyone what thinks, I recommended that on Absolute Radio.
Yeah.
She said, hi, there was a mention, this is what Rachel said, there was a mention of fool's gold and the difference between fools and idiots on the Frank Skinner show. Frank Skinner.
We handle the big topics that other commercial radio shows are not.
This is an interesting bit. My neighbour, David J. Bremner, television and film technician, was this some sort of... we're trying to give him a step up in his career here. Asked if he could, with his son, look through some old boxes and keep interest in... and keep interest in minerals that were collected for free by me in the 80s Mid-Wales caravan holidays. I don't know why David J. Bremner, the television and film technician, gets the mention. But
have you worked with him?
Stop rattling
I don't
the things.
think so.
On.
Sorry, is that annoying?
You wouldn't know his name if he was just a
Fool's
crew.
Gold. Well, you're talking about caravans. This is my last mention of Halloween, but I embarrassed myself horribly.
Brilliant.
In front of... Are you familiar with the work of John Sims?
Yeah.
What? The John Sim, the master.
You know he's in Doctor Who.
I wonder why his face...
Amongst other work,
up.
he's done a lot of high-quality other work, but Frank has gone straight to...
I told you I met him at the theatre, and he came over.
He seems a lovely chap.
He said, what a pleasure to meet... I said, oh, man, it's great to meet you. We were real. It was a real love fest. And he said, I can't believe we've never met. I'm a big fan. I said, well, I'm a massive fan of yours. And we just stood there. I said, I've got to tell you, I'm a big Doctor Who fan. He just gave me a hug and walked off.
Frank, you mustn't tell... Well, I embarrassed myself. He's married to an actor called Kate McGowan.
Oh, yeah.
She was in a film called Stardust.
I remember. I really liked Stardust.
Which I had. Well, you all know what happened then and why I made this mistake. Her character, Al, has a night of passion early on in it, which sets a narrative rolling. So I haven't seen her. I think I'd met
Night
her
of Passion so often.
Well, quite. I think I'd met her once during that time. So in reference to it, I said, after I was introduced introduced to them again, I said, "Oh, last time I saw you, you were filming Stardust and up to no good in a caravan."
Yeah.
And John Sims looked slightly horrified, and then she looked slightly horrified. And then I realised what that might have sounded like.
Yes.
And he saved the day. He said, "Well, I was in Manchester filming. What the hell was going on?"
Right.
And then I did have to explain hurriedly. I said, "No, I'm referring to her part. I promise."
Yes, it's a bit Bernard Bresslaw and Carry On Camping.
I know. It's the sort of thing
Bresslaw, no!
Luckily, they laughed and they saw the funny side. But then I realised so many of my encounters in life now are ending with that as the takeaway. Luckily, they saw the funny side.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what happens to you, Frank.
Yeah.
I'm basically turning into Frank Skinner.
Yeah, I know, it's... yeah, well, as I say, I wish I'd held back the Doctor Who thing, then I could have talked to him a bit more. The same thing happened to me, I told you, with...
You're a liability at those parties
with
now.
John Hurt. I told you about John Hurt. I spoke to him and I spoke about the naked civil servant. He was very friendly. I said, "I've got to tell you, I'm a big Doctor Who." And he went, "Ha, ha, ha," and walked away. Oh, you gotta stay in the closet.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
632 has texted, "Fool's gold is iron pyrite."
Oh, that rings a bell.
Can I also...
Pyrite Captain?
Also, Frank, I should apologise. You absolutely correct. I referred to the master, John Sim, as John Sims.
Yes.
I do apologise. Okay?
I'm sure you'll be fine with it.
Hopefully it was an occasion where it could have been an apostrophe S.
Well, no, but it is a bit my nan saying Cliff Richards. I am now of the age where I'm adding an S. Instead of Marks and Spencer's, Marx's, etc.
Don't worry. A lot of people say the Carpenters. And
Yes.
it's actually just Carpenters.
Is that right, Frank?
Yeah.
740. We were talking about Portuguese Christmas trees made from boiled cod earlier.
Yeah, of course we were.
And like every other breakfast radio show this morning, and 740 has said, was the tinsel made from goldfishes?
Oh, that would have been a nice touch.
I've forgotten.
Another example of an
Thank
extra
you.
S there, goldfishes.
Goldfish, you're
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Come on.
Unless there's
Come
missed
on,
a bit
mate.
off the end. And
Pull your socks up.
Was it made out of goldfishes? And then we don't know.
Hang on, the mafia didn't say you sleep with the fish.
You could use
They went
goldfish excreta probably instead of when people put tinsel around the tree.
Or lametta.
If you could get a long enough string.
Or for lametta. Are you familiar with lametta?
No,
No.
what's that?
No.
What, Eric Lametta?
Is it gross? Is it something you don't want to tell us about?
People never... No, it's the silver stringy thing. Do you know those? They look like icicles. They're silver foil sort of icicles.
Oh,
that
yeah.
you
They're called lametta.
It's called lametta. My mother was obsessed by it. She was going, "We've got to get the lametta." You know, mothers always have a meltdown. My mother's was always over the lametta.
That is, I love that.
Got to buy lametta.
We've had a text in that I rather like. 700 has texted, "Dearest Frank and noble associates, I have this morning boastfully completed a 5k run, cooked scrambled eggs and bacon for my partner, fabricated a most salubrious coffee to specification, and am now most of the way to completing a 4-person ratatouille. This will cool and be reheated, filled with flavours for tonight. I am hoping you'll mention me, selfish as it seems. Everyone else is watching the rugby and I'm sick of it and all alone, except for you. Thank you for amusing me." I'm going to say it. I think 700 might be a bit of a git, and I like them.
Well, I assumed that it was a woman. Is that bad of me? How did I arrive at that? Was it because they were cooking? I was thinking I thought it was going to be a multitasking celebration, which women often
Can I be honest?
celebrate.
I assumed it was a woman.
Yeah.
Have we got any
I'm
info that it
Spartacus.
wasn't? Did they say that they were a he? Did I say they were a he?
Yeah, didn't you just say it was a...
No,
I think a git is a male thing to be.
Yeah,
no.
boss.
Oh, no, I
you
think-
tell him, boss.
I think gittishness is gender neutral.
Oh, okay, I didn't.
Can you check the big pamphlet, the A5 book?
Excuse me, I'm a gittette.
Oh, are you?
I've chosen to call
I
myself.
think
Gittet.
this sounds to me like cultural appropriation. I think you got to be an older man to be a proper, fully blown git.
Oh, have you?
But I could be wrong. Times change. You know, it's hard to keep up with the with the slogans and the jargon.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
We also had someone, we were discussing the difference between an idiot and a fool. 546 has texted, in Men at Work's song High Wire, Colin Hay states, I may be an idiot, but indeed I am no fool. He probably knows the difference.
I don't think he does, by the sounds of it, because this was the thing that me and David Baddiel did, and the thing is that idiots are horrible people, whereas fools, you can actually love a fool.
Yeah.
You can't love an idiot. Not in our definition.
And harking back to many moons ago on this show, 545 has texted, Team, I have a poser for you. Where do you start when attempting a round jigsaw? Capitals on round.
You could still do the not the straight edge, but the edge. You could do the circle.
Good point.
I think you'd be all right. I've never actually done a circular one.
Something to
I'm
look forward
sure
to.
Yeah.
I might have done so many Henry VIII in my time.
Yeah, well, that might. I mean, it's King Arthur, you really want for the circular one.
Yeah, but still, I've done a few. I mean, I had to start broadening out to the globe form.
By the way, I saw Farmageddon. Do you
What's
know
that?
It's the new Shaun the Sheep movie.
Oh, looking
any good?
forward to that.
No, I'm an enormous fan of Shaun the Sheep.
most
in fact.
talked
you're not
about
gonna give it a
sheep
bad
film of the
review,
year.
are you?
Yeah,
This time, Sean's back.
and I watched the TV show. Are you familiar? There's a Shaun the
yeah.
Sheep too. Really
Oh,
good.
yes.
Really good.
I've got a Shaun the Sheep.
Wasn't
Lardner.
sure about Farmageddon.
Oh, you know.
I thought it's fallen into the same trap as Toy Story 4. Too much relationship stuff and not enough jokes. Which, of course, is how I feel about life.
Yeah.
Can I just say something, Frank? Is Shaun the Sheep popular as a franchise?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Oh, I've got a Shaun the Sheep. Aardman sent me an actual model in
Did
a
they?
framed. I didn't. Oh, I'll give it to Buzz maybe.
That's lovely. Is Aardman the...
I'll check what it's worth
Yeah,
first.
maybe we Google its value before you do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm worried he's not going to have any. Oh,
Is Aardman... was that Dean Gaffney's Alsatian?
I can't think of a better note on which to end this.
Well, there you go. Thank you for listening to us, and if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.